Sacs now with the line out on the 22-meter line. 5-man line out. Statler throws out to Brewer at the back, overthrows that one.
The number 6 from Rondebosch driving it forward, getting over the gain line. Some decent momentum there by Rondebosch. One off run has been picked off there by the Sacs defence. But Rondebosch maintained possession, play towards the space, trying to get the ball to their speedsters out wide. And some width required here. But again, the one off run has been picked off. The physicality of the Sacs pack being quite obvious early on in the piece. But the referee pings off sides there at the breakdown and allows Rondebosch to get out of their half.
Phil, Sacs showing some good line speed on defence there. They're a good double tackle. I think they might have got out of the block slightly early there and the ref pinging them for that. And Rondebosch now going to clear the ball to touch and get some relief. Territory as he made touch. Solani must have under the ball. Moves on quickly. Places the ball. Michael Evans clear. Lucky Glepu. Sacs come off on the ball. Plays a 5-9. That's Brewer, the captain. Come again. Brewer places. Glepu with a snapback. That's Redlinghayes with a kick. Kick into space there by Redlinghayes. And the ball goes into touch deep inside Rondebosch's half of the field.
Well, they're just showing the importance of finding touch in penalty situations, especially when you're needing to clear your half. The pressure's certainly been applied by Sacs at this stage. And Rondebosch certainly can't afford to play deep in their half with the physicality of the Sacs pack and willingness to carry the ball through phases. Rondebosch's first line out. Lots of movement going to the middle pod.
Sacs didn't contest that full, which means that's criminal by Rondebosch to throw skew. They were under no pressure there. Sacs were obviously looking to sack that. They assumed Rondebosch were going to maul that and looking to sack that or stop the maul threat. But Rondebosch, unfortunately for them, throwing skew and giving Sacs a very dangerous set piece here deep inside Rondebosch half. Lucky Glepu to feed. Sacs will be looking to bring their blindside wing. Perhaps there's an 8-9 opportunity on the blind side here. So Lani Masimbate on the right-hand touchline. Glepu has scored a simple 8-9 a couple of times this season already.
Yeah, it's a beautiful little blindside over there. It's now been moved across by the referee to even make it wider. The
referee, by pulling it wider, maybe he's just having a conversation with a couple of players about their discipline. A couple of forwards, front rowers, they're being spoken to about their setup, I think, at the scrum. It's a titanic struggle at the moment in the front row. Boys standing up under intense pressure at the moment. Sacs now with another scrum. Masimbate still lurking on the right hand side. Of course, there's the dangerous centre pairing of Redlinghayes and Hop out in the midfield as well. Sacs will be looking to get a nice shoulder here, and Glepu will be looking to feed the ball now. Referee gives him the signal, and they play left to Hayes, who gives it out to Redlinghayes in space, and a great handoff by Redlinghayes, and he's under the sticks. Fantastic start by Sacs. Some poor defence by the Rondebosch number 13, and Redlinghayes carrying on from his outstanding form last week against Bishops, where he was my man of the match. Hands off the Rondebosch 13 and scores a magnificent try under the poles.
That was great manipulation of the football there. Some beautiful width and accuracy of passing that allowed the player to get the outside gap there. A couple of unforced errors by Rondebosch thus far. Missing touch, a skew line out costing them dearly, and then the slip tackle there going too high on the drift. So important to cut around the ankles when someone's going on your outside, and criminal mistake, and hopefully Rondebosch can settle a little bit. It hasn't been the best of starts for them.
Geordie Hop, usually the danger man for Sacs in the back line, and you would expect Rondebosch to be marking him closely, which could open up a bit of space for Nick Redlinghurst, as it did there. But I agree with you, Phil. If you're going to tackle high there when you're moving on the drift, any decent centre is going to knock you away with a handoff or a little bounce with a hip. So I think the Rondebosch centre, they will learn from that. He'll need to. Sacs centre's looking dangerous right from the word go.
Well, important for Rondebosch to try and go through a couple of phases here. This kickoff's going to be important, that we put some pressure on, that we start playing a bit of football in Sacs' half.
Another bad error there by Rondebosch, not kicking the ball 10 metres. The coaching staff of Rondebosch will be fuming. A lot of these errors are, you can't coach for these things. Basic errors, not finding touch, not kicking the ball 10 metres, missing lineouts. It'll not be the start that the Rondebosch coaches would have asked for. Now Sacs with an incredibly dangerous set-piece opportunity in midfield. They've got threats to the left and to the right. Klepu will probably, I would say, be looking to move the ball of a 8-9 to the right, but we'll see what happens. Masimbate looking full of running here on the right-hand touchline. Hop, the danger man, out on the far left. Sacs looking to get a nudge on here. Sacs scrum has been very good this year, and another decent platform there. Halverson plays to Klepu going the other way. Unfortunately, the referee gets in the way there, Phil.
That was a powerful scrum. The scrum of Sacs seems to be starting to dominate now. The first couple were pretty even. As you said, we're going up due to the intense pressure, and now the right shoulder has been achieved, which is going to allow the 8 to have lots of time to decide which way he wants to go. And ball going forward is obviously so much more easy for these dangerous backline players of Sacs to get involved.
Klepu, titanic struggle there between Ferguson, tight head there, and the Rondebosch loose head. Ferguson, who's come a long way from last year, he's become a really good scrumming tight head. The Sacs pack has prided themselves on their scrum effort this season, and be looking for an outstanding platform to launch an attack. Coaches Graham Veppener and Adam Rundle will be looking for a big shove here and a good platform to launch. Halverson at the back, untidy, but Klepu recovers. Hayes out to Abrams, gives it out to Redlinghurst. Lovely little sleight of hand there to Masimbate, who fights hard to get back infield. Sacs secure possession. Ball out to Hayes, who's on the drift. Halverson a little bit upright, but he's a man mountain, so he manages to get himself to ground. Rondebosch there coming from the side. The referee has ruled that Rondebosch, has he ruled offside there? Hard to tell from his hand gestures there, Phil. Not totally clear. Might be something to do with the scrum there.
I would assume it's going back for the scrum. Seems that's where the offside was, because obviously the back seemed to be onside there. No one seemed to disengage too early, so it must be a scrummaging infringement, which is a concern for Rondebosch. They are a smaller pack. They are wanting scrums to be as little much of a fuss as possible, which is an opportunity to clear their lines, a decent nudge, moving up towards halfway.
Michael Abrams there, the Sacs fullback, making a bit of a shambles of that kick, almost mimicking what Rondebosch did earlier by not finding touch. Fortunately for him, Rondebosch didn't gather cleanly and have banged the ball into touch. Nevertheless, a quick ball by Sacs, played off the top, a nice little quick play there to get the play underway. Lucky Klepu's there. Rhino Liam Larkin on the ball. He spins out of a tackle. This is a danger man for Sacs. He's thrown the ball away out the back of the hand. All he needed to do there, Phil, was just to show some composure, go to deck. One or two more recycles by Sacs, and I'm pretty sure they had Rondebosch under the rack there.
100%. He certainly looks like a dangerous runner. Seems to be quite spatially aware. Don't know why he tried to offload, possibly a bit too early there. As you say, go to deck, look for runners off your back or hold on to possession. I must say I've been very impressed with the number 9 from Sacs, Klepu, so far. He seems to be clearing nice and quickly. Yes, he is getting fun football and obviously makes life a lot easier, but he certainly seems incredibly energetic and a very positive player in this side.
Yes, he's a youngster. He's in grade 11, but he's really come along in the last couple of games. He's probably arguably man of the match at the Wynberg Festival in one or two of those games. He scored some important tries, and he's got real talent.
Rondebosch under pressure, their scrum is under pressure. Can they clear their lines? Needing to show a lot of character here, something that's synonymous with Rondebosch boys, so I'm sure it'll come through. A nice big hole. been taken on by the Rondebosch 12, who's a converted 8. Some width on the ball, desperately trying to get the ball in space to their speedsters out wide. I see a pod developing at one-off runners. Hopefully they get through. Some patience required here to build some pressure, build some momentum, get some positive play going. Some decent width there by Rondebosch, needing to get to the deck, being held up by the powerful Sacs forwards. One-off runners again, but they seem to have committed some defenders. If they could just get slightly quicker ball, there could be some space. And again, as I mentioned, some phases allow Rondebosch to build some momentum and to build some pressure.
Sacs had that completely under control, so very unfortunate that Larkin there lost his discipline and went offside. There was no need for that. They had everything under control. The defensive line was set. They were ready to make some positive tackles. Larkin moving up too quickly and giving Rondebosch a very soft penalty and allowing them to get deep into Sacs territory.
A super nudge there by the Rondebosch fullback Maurer, who is certainly one of the pressure points in this Rondebosch side. They're really going to be looking to get some ball to him and some of the speedsters out wide. They've got some real pace, and with their lighter packets they need some quick ball. They need to build some phases and start playing the football towards space. A decent line out. They seem to have some control over that and possibly looking at a driving maul here to develop that momentum that they need. There's been a late sack there. I wonder if the referee will spot that as an issue. Again, some really powerful defense by Sacs at close quarters. Rondebosch playing the short side. And it looks like there's a turnover. You know, Sacs dominating that breakdown. They're dominating the tackle and allowing players to get in to positive positions and turn ball over.
Captain James Brewer there, he's one of the Sacs' main players in terms of stopping the opposition maul. He likes to get in there, in amongst it and get his hands on it. He was the one who actually stopped that maul and then got himself in a good position to actually slow it down as well. Rondebosch need to be very wary of sort of playing narrow into the strong tacklers that Sacs have. Halverson there taking the Bosch number 12 there, who as you said was a number 8 who obviously backed himself to take that into contact, but I think he was a bit upright and Halverson picked him up and drove him backwards strongly.
I think Rondebosch need to be careful, yeah, as you say, to get into a brawl. I don't know if lineouts should possibly go off the top. The hooker seems to be finding his middle jumper and they should be playing that off the top and trying to get some momentum in the wider channels where they can bring their quicker players into the game.
Sacs with a full line out. Brewer doesn't take it cleanly and Rondebosch have the turnover now. It's a pity. It was a good throw. Just poor hands there by the skipper. Sacs have held this up in contact again. Rondebosch struggling to get it to ground.
Rondebosch trying to look to go blindside there. Fortunate to knock on there by Sacs. They really need to play one pod wider, I would assume, Nick. There is not a lot happening in that one-off runner place. The Sacs defenders are picking them off one by one and creating way too much pressure at the breakdown, and Rondebosch aren't being able to manage that at this stage.
It's a well-known fact that Rondebosch have a very dangerous young 13, DJ Falconer, and also some speedsters out wide. Iron Mike Mavana, very dangerous runner, as you say. Look to get it into space. You don't want to be running into the Sacs heavies.
Decent scrum by Rondebosch, the best platform they've probably had so far. Poor execution on the pass there by 10, but there's space. Mavana got it, staying strong on his feet. Quicker ball, allowing Rondebosch to build some momentum. The pick and go straight up the guts. Possibly not the best option. There was some decent momentum there, but they've kept ball in hand. Need to watch Mavana. Very dangerous, low center of gravity, powerful runner. There's Falconer taking the short ball, running into space, running at branches. And this is better by Rondebosch. Some momentum going forward. Sacs under pressure. Again, one-off run has been easily picked off. Sacs line under siege here by Rondebosch. Some depth required, some space, playing to space needed. All too narrow. But the pick and go. Hold up. 13 coming from deep. Not quite making the run. The cross kick by the 10 into loads of space. It's beautifully executed and very well managed by the Rondebosch hooker who found himself in the wide channel. A super try, super execution by the 10. Lovely kick.
Like a young Lima Sapawanga there, Phil. The Highlanders in Super Rugby, I would say, have the best tactical kicking game out there. That kick pass to the wing is something that's been, you see more and more by the Kiwi sides, and the Bosch 10 getting in the pocket there and putting a pinpoint kick across for the Bosch wing on the far side to score the try. Sacs appeared to have that under control, but it took a little moment of magic there, and you can't take anything away. When you execute a skill like that, it's very difficult to stop.
It was beautifully executed, as you said, Nick. Sam Craig, a beautiful cross kick, and very well handled there as well by the Rondebosch hooker. And great that Rondebosch have got themselves back into this game. Just required some possession to go through some phases. And on this beautiful day here in Newlands, under the foot of Table Mountain, I think we're going to have a cracker on our hands here. A powerful pack versus a speedy backline. I think we're in for a good one, Nick.
Yeah, beautiful day here, Phil. If you look up at Table Mountain as a backdrop here, you've got two very proud schools sort of going at it hammer and tongs. Their contests over the years, particularly recently, have been very, very close affairs. Let's just keep quiet for the Bosch Flowers conversion. Moves up, strikes through the ball. He's walked away. Looks good. He's slotted it there. An amazing kick there, Phil, from the corner.
Beautiful nudge. I think that cross kick would have given him loads of confidence. He really did look like all the way over that ball that he was going to put a good purchase on it, and he seems to have a good kicking game, young Craig. So that's exciting for Rondebosch. I just really do hope these kids understand that this is probably the days of their lives. Beautiful weather here in Newlands today. Great opportunity for you to play with mates that will become lifelong mates.
Hayes kicks long to the left. The chase is there. The Sacs boys make their tackle eventually. Rondebosch looking to show a little bit of intensity up the right touchline.
Some good defence on the blind side there. Strong defence, and Sacs need to reply. Not allow Rondebosch to pick up too much momentum and to get back into this game after a sluggish start.
Mamani, the right wing for Rondebosch, also a danger man. He's short and squat and very, very quick. Could see Sacs took a while there to get into his space and close him down, which is not a good idea. The best thing is to rush up quickly and halt him before he can get going with a chop tackle or something like that. Sacs to feed now, Statler on the ball. Sacs have chosen another full line out. They've gone to the middle. Rondebosch contest again, and Sacs lose that line out.
That's 3 out of 4 line outs. It's something that's got to come right for Sacs for them to continue their impetus. Some width on the ball. Yeah, this is where Rondebosch are wanting to play.
Michael Abrams under the ball. He has a little look. He's got good feet. Gives the ball early to Glepu. He fights hard now in contact. Rondebosch are on that ball, but Glepu's knees are on the ground. Must release. Statler goes for a pick and drive. Effective pick and drive. Are the cleaners there? Rondebosch on that ball quickly, but they've fallen off their feet. Hayes out to Larkin. And now he looks for some space. Looking for the big fend, as he's well known for. Bosch must roll away now. 13 not rolling away, and I think maybe a bit of ill discipline there.
Clear penalty there, Nick. 13 had loads of time to roll away there.
I think Rondebosch had that under control as well, Phil. I think that was maybe a bit of ill discipline because it puts you under huge pressure now. Abrams no doubt are going to smack this one into the 22, and Sacs will probably set a maul, which we all know. Legalised obstruction, very difficult to stop at any level of rugby.
Sacs just need to find a line out, Nick. It's not been their strong point here today. Their scrum certainly has functioned well. Their close quarter defence has functioned well. Their ball carrying has functioned well, but their line out not so much, and they lose another one. Scrappy there. I think it'll still be Sacs ball. I think the Rondebosch lock got in front and slapped it forward.
Difficult to see what was going on there. Phil, the crowds in front of us here is obstructing our vantage point slightly, but Sacs obviously making a hash of that and giving Rondebosch a scrum. Definitely something that the coaches will need to address at half time will be the line out. Possibly an idea to shorten it perhaps Full lineouts are eagerly contested by the opposition, both at the front and the middle. So very difficult to win. Perhaps shortening it to a 4-man might be a good idea.
Simplification, so often the easiest option at line-out time. Rondebosch giving it width, giving it loads of width, and here goes Mbavana. He's got loads of wheels. It's broken, another tackle. And there's space to burn here. Rondebosch breaking out from deep, showing loads of intent. Playing from all the way back in their own 22. Doing exactly what they're trying to do, what they need to do to play to their strengths.
Ill discipline by Brewer there, coming in from the side. Sacs probably had that under control again and now putting themselves under pressure. Great breakout there, Phil. A brilliant pass, it must be said, by the number 12, who's actually a number 8. You throw one off the wrong hand out into the wide channels. You've got to say that's a hell of a skill to execute at that pace and with that accuracy.
100%. As is so often said, we want to play towards space, but without accuracy of passing, that's absolutely of no use. So that was a beautiful pass, as you say, off the left hand. There seems to be a great willingness to play wide, and we saw that in the second team game as well. Maybe not as polished as the game we're witnessing here, but certainly a great willingness by both sides to move the football around. Craig, the Rondebosch 10 over this, and the kind of last 10 minutes he's had, you would probably bank on him slotting this and putting Rondebosch into the lead.
Sam Craig with the 3 points there to move Rondebosch into a 10-7 lead. They haven't had that much territory, Phil, but when they have had the ball, they've certainly looked dangerous. The duo of Magic Mike and Mamani down the right touchline looking dangerous. Sacs are going to have to watch them carefully.
The importance of breaking that gain line and putting teams under pressure once you go behind them is quite apparent. If Sacs find Rondebosch playing in front of them, they don't seem to have too much of an issue, but any side's going to struggle when a team gets behind you.
Hayes kicking off to the right, looking for a contestable kickoff there for Hop. Rondebosch doing very well to secure that ball. Setting just a pod off 9. Halverson's there. Sacs 9 control. They just don't need to give away a penalty for being too over-eager. Rondebosch
opting to kick there when there was space out wide. An interesting option. Abrahams looks very solid under the high ball. Nick looks like a nice player, nice and balanced.
Yeah, also only in grade 10, Phil, so he's got another 2 years after this. There goes Larkin, the Rhino, places the ball, but he's lost it in contact. That'll infuriate the coaching staff. Halverson now looking to run hard. He's a big boy as well. Gets in there, places. Rondebosch on it very quickly there.
He's a big unit who could probably have stayed on his feet for a bit longer and went down far too easy, allowing the Rondebosch forwards to get over the ball. Powerful looking player and seems to have a lot of ability, but needs to work through the tackle and stay on his feet.
100%. When you're that size, Phil, you should be staying on your feet a little longer. At the same time, Rondebosch now showing a lot of pluck. They're showing a lot of character. You could see they're up for it. I think being up on the scoreboard now has really given them a sense of urgency and desire and belief. Could see the way they contested it, and when they won the penalty, they were in on each other, high-fiving and getting really excited, which is really positive for Rondebosch.
You talk about belief. It's such an important ingredient, especially at this age. And those first 10 minutes were disastrous for Rondebosch, but they've come back very nicely, showing amazing character. The line-out is functioning. Why are they trying to maul it? I'm not 100% sure. Excellent
maul defense there, Phil. One would argue that throwing the ball to the front when you've got a pack of Sacs' size is maybe not the best idea. Sacs were up to the challenge there. Brewer getting in amongst it, and then the rest of the Sacs pack blowing the ball into touch. The linesman has put his flag up for a Rondebosch feed, surprisingly. He must have seen something that we didn't, but they've shortened that line out now to a 5-man. Rondebosch to feed the ball.
I think Rondebosch got away with murder there. I agree with you, Nick. Playing it to 2 and trying to drive from there shouldn't be the game. Rondebosch are trying to execute. That's a little bit better, a little bit more intricacy, getting a little bit of momentum. A decent line there by 12. Rondebosch wanting to speed the game up, play through phases. A little bit too narrow again, Nick. Playing left, right, but that's a decent line by 13 Falcon, who looks like he's full of running. A good carry by 8 and a very nice hit by the Sacs 4.
Referees ruled play on there. Sacs getting a fortuitous turnover there. They hack it ahead. The line's good. They need to close now with a low tackle. Rondebosch getting out of there. Lawrenson and Larkin are there to wrap him up. Sacs getting out of their half.
There's
They'll
some
breathe a
space
sigh.
left. Oh, I'll get it. It was a great opportunity for Rondebosch. They just needed some execution, some depth in running. Far too many lurkers. Someone needing to get nice and deep to run onto that pass. But Rondebosch keep possession, will kick for touch. Hopefully play it off the top and get the ball out wide to their speedsters.
The Sacs coaches very upset in front of us here, pleading with their players to show a bit more discipline. A lot of soft turnovers and soft penalties being given to the opposition, allowing them to stay in the game. Rondebosch walk in here. They look like they're going to set a full line out here, Phil. Would they look to more, possibly? Not something you'd be looking to do?
I would. 4 seems to be winning ball at will. I would be popping it off the top.
Skew throw in there, ref not seen it.
A decent pass by the 9, getting over the gain line. There seem to be 1 or 2 holes around those fringes. Again, Sacs picking off that first run off pod. Rondebosch needs to play a little bit wider, one would feel. It's where they're having the most impact. Craig having a crack. The last 10 minutes have gone his way, so you can't fault him.
Craig there taking an interesting option. Klepu's wide awake down there with a quick tap. Really nice by the scrum half. He's offloaded out the left to Ravenscroft, who's placed the ball. Sacs just need to put some phases together now. And they've unfortunately given another turnover at the breakdown. In hindsight, maybe not the best idea for Klepu to go off on his own. Cleaners where he was isolated. Nevertheless, he's obviously trying to create something. Full Sacs haven't had the ball. They haven't hung on to possession for long periods to put pressure on Rondebosch. But maybe he was just trying to ignite something.
100%. I cannot fault him one little bit for having a crack from there. He got allowed the opportunity to play quickly. Just as you say, the execution, needing to stay on your feet a little bit longer before going to ground is always the key when it comes to getting slightly isolated. The Sacs forwards probably need to work a little bit harder to get close. But this is certainly turning into an even contest of contrasting styles, but all still to play for and very tight.
Couldn't be tighter. I think both sets of supporters will be right on edge as Rondebosch feed the ball. Bit of deliberation over the call here. Brewer getting in amongst it now. There's a bit of clapping, and
the last 4 lineouts have gone to the number 4 jumper, as does this one. So how much deliberation there was, I'm not 100% sure what that was required for. Rondebosch finally getting some momentum off that driving maul, hoping to milk a penalty, one would think, with the right boot of Craig. Sacs still working hard, ball's gone to deck, arm is out by the referee. Rondebosch not getting too much love in that first channel. But back they come for that line-out infringement, the sack of that maul.
Rondebosch with a very effective shift maul there, which caught Sacs slightly unawares. They moved the ball up. They were obviously trying to do it, I would assume, to milk that penalty, give them field position, and also give them the opportunity to kick 3 points, which they have gladly accepted. The referee has made his signal to kick for poles. And Bosch looking to push themselves into a 13-7 lead with about just a couple of minutes before halftime.
Nick, as a Rondebosch supporter, obviously incredibly happy to extend that lead. But one concern is that trying to milk penalties and play for penalties is probably not going to, in the long run, do Rondebosch too much justice here today. One feels that the Sacs pack will come back into this game, and trying to milk penalties through physicality is probably not the way forward. You still need to continue to play towards space, but all's good that ends well.
agree with you there, Phil, but scoreboard pressure is certainly something to consider, and if Bosch can go into a 13-7 lead, they'll certainly be buoyed by that.
And there's a little bit of a wind blowing in Sacs' favour at the moment, so let's see if Craig can knock this over. Decent strike on that. He has the 3 points, and it's a 6-point lead by Rondebosch. They really have shown loads of character to come into this, back into this game. Their forwards have had to work incredibly hard against a more physical Sacs pack.
First half, a tale of sort of two halves there. Sacs starting strongly and putting Rondebosch under all sorts of pressure, and Rondebosch coming back into the game nicely, as you say, showing a lot of character, a lot of guts, a lot of fight, and contributing to a very tightly contested game. There's a man down there in backfield. It looks like the Rondebosch number 1, the loose set prop, is hobbling back. Hayes now kicks off deep left. Rondebosch don't handle the kickoff. Sacs are now on it. Lawrenson scooped up the scraps there. Sacs will be looking to impose themselves and create some pressure. A soft penalty conceded by Rondebosch. Lucky Glepu, and he's off. He's done this a couple of times this season. Rondebosch can't be 10 meters back there. Has the referee got his hand out? He's got them for 10. Quick thinking by Glepu there. He's really quick to get going there off those penalties. As we've already flagged, he's a man to watch for the future. He's in the South African under-16 squad. He played Western Province Grand Como. So he's looking to really ignite something for Sacs. Critical moment now in the game, Phil.
I think this is an important moment, this powerful Sacs pack. Can they hit a line out? It's something they've struggled with in the first half. If they can hit this line out and create some pressure around them all.
Rondebosch setting up 2 pods here, so this is going to put a lot of pressure on the Sacs line out. Let's see what they've got. Statler to feed. Hopefully Brewer's not just going to jump where he is. Oh, they've lost it again. Not clever there at all by Sacs.
Really been Sacs' Achilles heel in this first half. The line-out's fortunate to get a knock-on by the Rondebosch player at the back of that line-out.
Rondebosch taking a little bit of a calculated risk there to contest 5 meters from the line. One would say the maul is such a threat with such a big pack that it's pointless just to stand there and leave it full. So it
100%.
paid off there, it paid dividends. But Sacs do have this feed from the left-hand scrum. Look for Geordie Hop maybe coming back on a switch play. The old blade from varsity days.
Good old-fashioned blade. It's just screaming. I think with the Sacs right shoulder that they're getting at scrum time is probably not a bad result.
Halverson picks up at the back. He's strong. He's held up just short of the line. Here's Glepu now on the ball. Gives it to Liam Larkin, who fends a man off. Needs to go straight. He's lost the ball. Very, very poor by the Sacs number 7 there. Losing the ball in contact. Rondebosch breathe a sigh of relief there. And they bang it into touch. Has that signaled the end of the first half? It has. Sacs will be very disappointed they didn't come away with any points there, Phil. The line out not functioning at all. The Sacs coaches will be into the huddle now and trying to come up with some sort of solution to this problem. It's really just a matter of getting that set piece right to create pressure, and then the sort of dominant Sacs pack getting a bit of a roll on. At the moment, Rondebosch in this game through pure grit, determination, and some lovely players out wide that have really, and that number 13 DJ Faulkner, full of running, looking to run hard and flat off 9. A handful for Sacs at the moment as well.
It's going to be an interesting second half for Sacs. You wonder if they will back themselves to take some scrums, to tap and go. Glepu looking very dangerous off that as opposed to avoiding lineouts, or if they shorten lineouts. So there are options galore, but I do believe that they want to go through phases. If they can start creating a rumble, they're going to be incredibly difficult to stop. They've got some powerful ball runners in the centres as well as in the forward pack. So one would assume that they want to have more ball. And kicking ball away to lineouts which are 50-50 at this stage probably isn't the play for them in the second half. They need to control that football for longer periods.
Sacs coming off a 38-19 victory against Bishops last week at home. The general chat was that they didn't play as well as they could have and should have, and that if they would play like that against Rondebosch a week later, they could be put under some pressure. But this is proving so. Rondebosch, on the other hand, soundly beaten at the farm last week. I believe they went out there with confidence and belief that they could win, and through a variety of factors, Boland Landpo putting them away, I think they managed to accumulate 48 points at the end, which wouldn't have pleased the Rondebosch supporters, boys, or the coaches. but they've certainly picked themselves up, Phil. They've come back into this game at Sacs, this beautiful day here at Sacs. Absolute privilege to be here commentating with you, and also to watch a spectacle like this between two fine schools going at each other for a Premier League scalp, which is something one talks about your whole life.
100%. I think Rondebosch boys have never been short on character. It's one game that we'll always be up for. It's one that we don't like to lose, we don't expect to lose, and we don't enjoy to lose. So the guys will certainly be up for it, and they certainly have showed that character after a poor start. They certainly have fought to hang in there. They seem to understand their strengths and weaknesses, which I think is an important part, and they would probably go into the half-time huddle feeling a little bit more positive than the Sacs boys are at this stage, and that kind of confidence at this age is such an important thing. I hope the coaches are being positive in that and just reaffirming the things that they've done positively. The lineouts have functioned incredibly well. When they play that one pod wider, they've had lots of success. Hopefully they will just slow down on that one-off runner, and if they are going to drive them all, as you say, is to shift it as opposed to just trying to power through through that two ball channel. But all to play for in the second half, and bragging rights, as you know, Nick, are so enjoyed by both schools and old boys as well as boys.
Sacs coaches in the huddle there, some harsh words being spoken by Graham Weppener. The boys and the coaches work incredibly hard in the weeks leading up to these fixtures, and to see a set piece like a line out go astray like that, and basic errors like kickoffs not being kicked 10 and kicks for touch not finding touch and things like that really tend to upset a coach on the day. It's such a big occasion for the school, both schools, as you say, bragging rights, and the Sacs boys will need to respond to their coaches' pleas here. They have it in them, they have a good team on paper. There's plenty of game breakers all across the paddock there. It really now is a matter of the boys knuckling down, getting into the correct areas of the field and hanging on to the ball for some sustained periods. Rondebosch, as always, are going to show a lot of character. They're not going to make it easy for you, but certainly not winning your set piece and just giving the ball away at the breakdown is not going to help your cause.
I must admit, the Sacs coach, Graham Weppener, Rondebosch old boy, where he learnt everything that he knows. It's great that he could impart that kind of knowledge on the Sacs boys. I see him going across to the referee to have a chat now, probably to ask a couple of questions for some of the calls that he didn't seem happy with in the first half. But beautifully coached side this, Nick. They seem to be not just organised, they seem to be a good collective group. They seem to be enjoying themselves. They obviously didn't enjoy the last 15 minutes of that half, but they've got a great opportunity to come back and do something special.
Full at the moment, it looks like Graham Weppener's allegiance to his old school could be a contributing factor here. It seems he's given the line-out calls to the opposition before kickoff. I think he's gone to the boys to apologise and looking to turn things around in the second half.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd love to have a chat to Holo after a couple of beers tonight and see where his heart really is in these mornings of these big games. It must be a tricky one for him to emotionally deal with, but I know Graham is a competitive fella, and he must be excited for the second half and hoping his Chargers can come through with a win.
Head of rugby, Barry van Salm, coach of the second team, also Rondebosch old boy, Adam Rundle, coaching with Graham Weppener, coached I think the Rondebosch under 16A team last year, so there's a big Rondebosch influence. So hopefully they're not sending what do we call them, moles on the inside, Phil, to bring our rugby program down from within. But in all seriousness, now we've got a huge second half on our hands. Rondebosch to kick off.
A good kick off, nice and deep.
Larkin on the ball, fights off a couple of people in contact.
He really looks like a strong carrier, Nick.
Yeah, Clairpoo now to Hayes, to Redling Hayes, who fires a wide pass to Abrams. This is better by Sacs. Hop, who hasn't done much yet, flicks it back inside to Abrams. Sacs showing a little bit of eagerness to get the ball through the hands there, which is what they will be desperate to do. That's the captain Brewer now, well met in midfield. Sacs pushing over the ball. Clairpoo's on it now to Hayes. Gives it out to Redling Hayes, a little bit static, but Abrams found some space on the outside. He's kicked that ahead to the danger man, Mike Mavana, who's found some space. He's now put it to boot to ball. I don't know if that was a good idea.
Needs that to sit. It has.
David Hayes.
Nicely recovered there.
David Hayes clears the ball to touch. I felt down the right, Abrams' kick down the middle of the field, not only a poor option but poorly executed as well, put Sacs under huge pressure. Probably fortunate, I think, that Mike Mbavana didn't run with that one and banged it back to Hayes. Nevertheless, maybe a few nervous moments here for both sides feeling themselves out after half-time.
Finally a line out off the top. And the Rondebosch winger finding a nice line there, carried on by the big number 4. Rondebosch and Sacs showing some positive intent in the second half, and we've certainly got off to a nice start in this second part of the game. Good strong defence on the blind side there by Sacs.
The Rondebosch number 9 there, Davies showing a lovely little sleight of hand in the midfield there, Phil, almost like a little no-look pass off the left shoulder to Mbavana through the middle there. Very nice little play there. He looks like an exciting player. I know he played in the under-16A team last year, a youngster, but also full of promise. Sacs win a line out, but promptly throw it away. Sacs looking to pick up the scraps. Hayes is there. He's moving, gets round the Rondebosch tight head prop and hoofs it into touch. Sacs won't be happy, Phil, with that. They managed to secure the ball, but for some reason have just thrown it sort of pretty mindlessly into open space there, giving Rondebosch the opportunity to win the ball on the ground.
Sacs needing some composure at line-out time. As you say, that was a beautiful line-out. Everything went to plan, and a little bit of panic to rid himself of the ball there, finding nowhere. Glepu was nowhere to be found. But a nice scrum position. It looks like Sacs are setting themselves up to crank it up in that first channel and play an exit plan, or possibly look to play the ball wide.
The Sacs supporters now feeling their team needs a lift, getting behind their team here with a couple of war cries, much needed. The boys seem to be a little bit flat. Maybe the crowd can lift them. The referee initially, I thought, might have awarded that scrum to Rondebosch, but the ball is being put in by Glepu. Sacs could have a running exit on the cards here, but maybe at this stage of the game, probably better for Redlinghurst to take it up and to set some blockers and get out of their half. Glepu out to Red. Oh, they've played out the back to Hop, who's made an awful hash of that.
Not bad intent, setting themselves up as if they were going to carry it into that first channel. They actually had found the space. Hop unfortunately couldn't hold on to that pass. There was some decent width that was created there, and the runners on the outside, but unfortunately execution, as we said earlier, so important when trying to play the ball wide. It's not just an intent, it's also execution.
Yeah, Sacs had acres of space there to work in. Hop looking up at the crucial moment and knocking that on, and now Rondebosch have a very, very dangerous set piece in midfield. Danger men right and left. Sacs will need to be on their game now to defend this.
Sacs will look to put this Rondebosch scrum under pressure and make Davis's life difficult at the base. A little bit static there, again just showing the value of not going forward at the scrum. Rondebosch fumbling on the blind side, just trying to create some decent ball to play off. That first runner easily picked off again by Sacs. A little bit of left-right here by Rondebosch, trying to work that blind side, commits and suck in some defenders. I would love to see that just one channel out, Nick. It's too slow. It's allowing the Sacs defenders to span and get that spacing that they're looking for. Here's the Rondebosch 12, who has certainly looked full of running, but the gain line not been penetrated. Solid defense. Again, the cross kick by Davis. This could work. It's a decent nudge. Oh, and number 6 of Rondebosch dropping that cold.
Sacs back three, very, very small, short guys, and Rondebosch have obviously flagged this as a weakness, and they are executing their cross kicks very effectively there. Both times, one led to a try on the right-hand side in the first half, and that one there, if the Rondebosch guy had hung on to the ball there, Sacs could have been in all sorts of trouble. Rondebosch do have the penalty, however. They'll be looking to go for goal. It's all Rondebosch at the moment. Sacs struggling to get out of their own half. I thought initially, Phil, that Rondebosch didn't use the ball as effectively as they might have wanted to off that midfield scrum. Yeah. But nevertheless, they've worked themselves into a good position and now have the opportunity to get themselves into a 16-7 lead.
Again, they didn't panic. The execution of that pass wasn't a good one, so they had no momentum and couldn't find the space. I must admit my primary concern was the Rondebosch manager running on with a kicking tee there, not allowing the boys to make a decision. So important that decision making is also allowed to develop in the players. The maturity and everything that they need to develop as young men is so important for them to do that themselves. Why a manager's running onto the kicking tee to insist that he goes for goal is beyond me.
Yeah, I feel it's the win at all costs philosophy that permeates through the schoolboy rugby landscape. I agree with you. Boys should be allowed to make decisions.
And I'm sure it would have been the same one with the same result. And that's a 9-point lead now by Rondebosch with a bit of wind at their back, momentum on their tails. They've certainly got much better body language than the Sacs boys at this stage. Can Sacs dig deep and show some character and turn this around and create a tighter contest than it currently is?
Sacs desperately need to get out of their own half. Can't play rugby from deep here. As you saw, Geordie Hop's error gifting Rondebosch the opportunity to get those 3 points. Sacs need to get deep into Rondebosch half. They kick off to the right with David Hayes.
Rondebosch really have done well at the set pieces. We really thought that they would come under pressure, but their line-out has functioned. Their kickoffs have been really strong as well, and their scrums have been certainly adequate. Some width again here to Craig, who certainly seems to know his way around.
David Hayes now out to Abrams with a little bit of space to move. At the moment, the intensity of the Sacs boys is a little bit off at the moment. There's a question to be asked here. Rondebosch out-passioning the Sacs boys slightly here at everything, at the breakdown and in the contact areas. Larkin now with a tap and go.
Can he spot something?
He's going to take something. Good low tackle there by the Rondebosch boy. That's exactly how you need to tackle Laugh. And there's space on the outside now. They're in Redlinghase couldn't offload because Brewer was in front of him, the captain. Klepu now with an opportunity. He snipes. There's space. He chips ahead. Good option. Ravenscroft unfortunately can't grab it and fumbles the ball into touch.
I think Ravenscroft got a fright. He had an opportunity there. It actually set up for him, and I don't think he was expecting it to. You can see the disappointment. That could have been a 5-pointer.
Yeah,
but again, Klepu, just a fabulous, certainly the best player on view today. Certainly got an eye and an understanding for space. Beautiful step off the left foot and go.
There was space out wide there, Phil, and the Rondebosch defence was obviously concerned and already turned their shoulders to the touchline. Klepu saw it immediately, showed the presence of mind to step inside two heavies and snipe through for a great little break there. Ravenscroft unfortunately fumbling the ball there, giving Rondebosch a scrum. Sacs will need a huge scrum to put pressure on the Bosch side here, 5 meters out.
Well, that's a big scrum by Sacs. And a good strong carry there by Rondebosch as they exit. Beautifully done. And a good nudge by Craig. And Sacs play beautiful to see them playing the ball quickly.
Abrams now to Redlinghase and out to Hop, who needs to do something here. He steps into space. He's given it off out the back there to Redlinghase, who's carrying strongly. Sacs need something to be ignited in them. There's Statler now carries. We're the cleaners. Rondebosch on that ball. Has the ref seen that? The ball's gone out to Hayes, who hits Halverson. Floats the ball out to Ravenscroft, who can't handle that.
Another good opportunity for Sacs. They certainly are now creating opportunities. They've lifted the intensity. They just need to stay patient. They need to have the ball runners, the receiving player to keep their depth.
Rondebosch with a very effective exit there. Simple punch by the number 12, followed by a nice kick to touch. Well worked there. Coaches will be happy with that exit. Bosch with a 4-man line out.
And Rondebosch line-out malfunctioning for the first time that I can remember.
A little bit of pressure there exerted by James Brewer, who carries now. They need to get Rondebosch out of the breakdown. Here comes Larkham running sideways and statically. He places the ball. Redlinghase, the centre, who loves a pick and drive, snipes around the fringes. That's good by Redlinghase. Ball out to Statler, who's still full of running. Sacs need to clean up here. And it's Redlinghase again, and he's matric here. He's taking the ball into his own hands. There he goes again, Redlinghase. He scores the try. There's one man on the field for Sacs at the moment, Phil, and that's I'm maybe being a bit harsh. There are 2 men on the field for Sacs so far. It's Lucky Klepu, the scrum half, and the number 12, Nick Redlinghase, who really are carrying the team at the moment.
You know, Redlinghase seems to have plenty of desire and plenty in the attack. He picked and go, picked and go, picked and go. Very physical. seems to have loads of desire, and that desire is exactly what Sacs need at this stage. There seemed to be a little bit of that lacking. It's good that the Matric boys stepped up to the plate. Wonderful character. It's good to see.
He's the deputy head boy as well, taking things into his own hands, realizing Sacs needed something special from somebody and stepping up there to the plate. Hopefully this will galvanize the rest of his teammates into something, and the intensity will lift. Rondebosch will be probably fuming that they allowed sort of line breaks and mini breaks through those channels right next to rucks. Always an area you need a guard first full before you fan out, particularly against the likes of Lucky Glepu, and there Nick Reddinglace also showing his desire and keenness to pick and drive around their fringes.
Rondebosch, important that they stay in Sacs' half now, start building some pressure again. They had this game under control, but that great little passage of play by Redlinghayes has allowed Sacs right back into this.
Larkin doing well to offload to Ravenscroft on the touchline. Now it's out to Hayes. Sacs looking to impose themselves on the game here. Redlinghayes sneaks back inside. He's having a game here, as he did against Bishops. Rondebosch not releasing from that break time, but Sacs do have that. Here's Hayes. He's charged down, but who's going to want this ball? Larkin's following up. The referee has
and here's trouble. Davis in space. Beautiful step. He's gone round Glebu. And into the corner he goes. That's the corner we don't see so well, but a beautiful piece of play.
Great play there by the Rondebosch scrum off, but Phil, it must be asked, when there's a charge down, there is no offside. And that's a bizarre call by the referee. Sacs
I have to agree
fuming.
with you there, Nick. I'm not sure if it was from the subsequent kick by the Sacs player that they were in front of. The charge down is fine, but then the ball was kicked by a Sacs player, which then created an offside from that kick, not from the charge down.
Quite right, Phil. Well noticed. It could probably, yeah, I would say that certainly is the ruling by the ref. The Sacs wing must have been ahead of Larkin as he hoofed that ball ahead. It's the only possible way a turnover could have been awarded there for a penalty.
Be a good one to watch in the replay.
Yeah, the Rondebosch
Unfortunately, you have to hear our voices though. It's only problem.
Rondebosch scrum off, wide awake though. He was off like a flash. Anything Lucky Glepu can do, Davies can do himself. He was off like a flash down the right-hand side and scored a memorable try in the right-hand corner.
It was a beautiful try. It was nice, quick thinking, the quick tap and go. It's exciting again, as we said earlier. The decision making being made by the player on the field. You can feel the space, can feel the situation. Rondebosch extend that lead again.
The conversion drifts past the left-hand upright. Craig won't be happy with that. It was an important kick. He's kicked well today. He's out of hand kicking. Some of those pinpoint cross kicks have been extremely impressive. Young man really showing what he's made of. Very tight at the moment, Phil. You can feel the crowd's on edge.
Yep.
Game could still go either way.
The tension is building, and it's at times like these where the great players step up to the plate. It's going to be interesting to see how those experienced and top players respond. Ball lost in contact there by Rondebosch, and Sacs have an opportunity in the Rondebosch half.
Great tackle by Tom Robinson to get the turnover for Sacs. Glepu out to Statler, who carries the ball strongly. He places the ball. Statler full of running. Out to Hayes again. Redlinghayes. Halverson's in some space. He runs hard. And Redlinghayes is in at the breakdown. Rondebosch contested the breakdown illegally. The referee has got his hand out. Glepu out to Hayes. Connor O'Reilly spills the ball. Sacs now starting to get back into this game a little bit. Shaken by that try by Davies down the right side. And they have the ball here. They've given up the opportunity to kick for touch here, Phil. Not sure that's a great... This is not a very interesting call there to do that, Phil. I haven't seen that since an under 9 sort of under 9A rugby game. Larkin flicks it onto Redlinghayes. Can he get a hat-trick here? Man alone, Nick Redlinghayes. Unbelievable performance by the number 12. He's got it. A hat-trick.
Beautifully
Nick
done.
Redlinghayes. Where has this man been? Outstanding against Bishops last week. 2 tries, or two narrowly missed tries, but he was outstanding. Today a hat-trick already, Phil.
Beautifully done. I think, as I said earlier, the quick tap and go is probably the way forward for Sacs. The line-out's not functioning. Their ball carriers will still give you momentum. It was just one hit and go. Beautiful space developed. I don't know where the Rondebosch defense was there. There was a huge hole which Rudlinge stepped into, and he actually finished quite beautifully. He certainly has shown incredible character and determination here today, and certainly looks like a player to watch.
Geordie Hop taking the ball back a long way for a conversion. Maybe he's worried about being charged down. He has a fairly long run up. Let's see if the Dutchman can put the ball through the sticks. He strikes the ball well, and he's put the ball through the middle. So the comments are null and void. Liam Larkin there was the man who gave that offload to Redlinghuis. Rondebosch obviously worried about him as a danger man. They hinged in on him, creating a little bit of space on the shoulder there for Redlinghuis, something that Sacs need to do a little bit more of.
First one is passed all day, and it's resulted in a 7-pointer. It's 21 apiece. An exciting game, a great game of football by two schools.
Alverson stripped in contact
by the Rondebosch player. Some of the substitutions have come on to give some momentum. Burley prop forward, carrying that forward. A little nudge. Out wide. Oh, and the referee has pinged for in front of the kicker. Now Rondebosch must turn and watch. Glepo will know he'll go.
Sacs will breathe a sigh of relief there, Phil. Narrowly in front of that kicker. It was a very good kick there into the corner. Sacs were all at sea. Lucky Glepo was, I think, scrambling, or maybe it was Abrams scrambling there in the corner. Rondebosch just a little over eager there, getting in front of the kicker, much to the relief of Sacs, I'm sure. They've chosen a scrum. Clearly, Sacs not backing their line-out. Their line-out hasn't functioned well today. The scrum has been a real strength. Midfield scrum now. Interesting to see what Sacs decide to do here. Lucky Glepo to feed. David Hayes with a left foot, looking to kick towards the left-hand touchline. Glepo potentially looking to an 8-9 here. An 8-9 would be a very good play here.
Just give the ball to Redlinghuis.
That's a very nice exit there, and a great ball strike by Glepo. Sax's lines there. They take Mimavana.
The kick is only as good as the chase, and the chase was good by Sacs. Rondebosch still maintaining possession, getting themselves back into position. There's space out wide. Will they see it? Yes, they do. Here's Craig. Needs to find his quick runners outside. And here we... Oopsie. That was never forward. That was as flat as you could have. Rondebosch building some pressure and some momentum here.
Sacs coach is getting a bit desperate here. I agree with you, Phil. That pass was flat.
Rondebosch finally getting some momentum. Davies with a nudge. The chase is important here. Abraham's under it. He's missed it. To fresh air. Who wants it? The Rondebosch replacement flank forward jumps on it, but unfortunately he's knocked it forward, and Sacs get out of jail free.
I tell you what, Phil, Lucky Glepo showed a keen appreciation of the rules there to not contest that ball. As it came forward came back off a Sacs hand. I think Glepo decided to go for it, decided not to at the end, and I think that saved Sacs from a penalty. Very clever by the Sacs scrum half there.
With the wind behind him in that position, Craig would have got that over with his eyes closed. So an important part of the game, that little decisions make big differences in this game.
This game's on a knife edge, Phil. Anything can happen. It's anybody's game at the moment. It's almost who's going to play the big moments better. Glepo to feed now. The Sacs scrum has functioned pretty well today.
It feels like every play now is important. This exit by Sacs is going to be an important one for them. As you say, it's the big play that's going to come. Who's going to execute that best?
Good scrum by Sacs. Out to Hop now. He's well tackled. He throws the ball away senselessly. Sacs cannot afford to show this kind of... Brewer, the captain's done well to keep that ball. Sacs need to show some composure. Get into the right areas of the field. Starting to come into the game now, Larkin. Good decision by Glepo to knock that one into space. And keeps it in. That's outstanding by Lucky Glepo. Lucky Glepo and Nick Redlinghuis certainly carrying the Sacs team today. Very little else happening. But those two players have been outstanding today, Phil.
Absolutely, they certainly have been the pressure points for Sacs. They have allowed them to go forward, and the impetus that they've required that we would have expected from other areas of the powerful forward pack, which hasn't quite fired today. But a line out here for Rondebosch, which has functioned well. But as we said, every play now is a key one, and there's pressure all round. There's a couple of minutes left, and this is going to be an important line out for Rondebosch.
Sacs don't contest. They look to take the ball down. They've ruled a skew throw in. Sacs now with a right-hand scrum. This is a great opportunity to put some pressure on the Rondebosch side here in the right area of the field. I get the feeling, Phil, that both sides have actually given the opportunities to the opposition and allowed them back into the game. It's been a bit of a seesaw affair. Some of these coaches don't have any hair as it is, Phil, but if they did, it would certainly be under threat. Klepu now to feed the right-hand scrum.
Be interesting to see if they look to strike or if they look to carry. They've
Alverson
gone
up the blind.
blindside.
Klepu takes it beautifully. Presents the ball nicely. The ball just left loose at the base of the breakdown. Hayes now dives on it. He's dived on. That must be a penalty. Silly by Rondebosch there. Absolutely no need to dive on the play on the ground. Now, Larkin's off. He runs at pace. He places the ball really well. That's a great work there by Larkin, who passes out to Ferguson. Lucky Klepu on the ball. Here comes Brewer, the head boy and captain. Sacs just need to keep the ball now. Halverson fights forward in contact. Klepu out to Redlinghurst looking for his fourth. Look at him, he's gone straight through again. Redlinghurst, unbelievable scenes by the number 12. A penalty awarded. Redlinghurst, what a game he's having. Here's Geordie Hop with some space. Can he finish? Look at that. Look at the strength by the 13. Klepu now. Sacs just needing to show some composure. Brewer for the line. Has he got there? He has. Fantastic.
Wonderful play there by Sacs. Difficult to defend those runners that continuously pour forward on the gain line. Lovely passing and lovely play there by Sacs. I don't think this is the end of it. I think Rondebosch have shown loads of character in this game and they'll come back. This kick could prove to be important, Nick.
Very important kick by Geordie Hop. I think at the moment there's been a call for Ken Ball to promote Nick Redlinghurst from deputy head boy to head boy on Monday, Phil. He really has played unbelievably well. He's fairly slight. He's not the biggest guy, but he's put his body on the line for his team. He's already scored 3 tries and set up a 4th. He's really has been outstanding today.
Attitude will always trump size every time a coconut. You know that, Nick. And he certainly has had incredible attitude. This is an important kick here by Hop.
Geordie Hop to put Sacs 7 points out. Great strike by Hop, and he puts it through the uprights for a 7-point lead for Sacs. Phil, this is going to go down to the wire. Sacs get into the lead for the first time in some time, and they'll be now looking to exit their half effectively. One thing they don't want to do now is to drop the kickoff and allow Rondebosch back into their half.
They certainly have come back into this game through pure simplicity, avoiding the lineouts which haven't been firing. Rondebosch that went 5 meters and they've now got some momentum. The replacement players carrying hard. Davis goes blind to the hooker into that area where we're struggling to see. Another big carry by the Rondebosch lock forward. They're in the danger zone now, in the red zone. Can they make something of this? They need to respond quickly and swiftly to Sacs' last 10 minutes.
Sacs are on that quickly. They must be holding on. He's ruled against that though. Sacs must have been offside, maybe around the fringes. That's the only thing I could think of. They looked like they were over that ball there. Rondebosch now looking to kick this for touch. This is a key moment. They're going to back their maul now. Maybe a shift maul, maybe a vacuum play into the space out the back.
After 3 missed lineouts under pressure, even more pressure now. They've gone for a lineout. I'm not 100% sure if that was the way to go. They could have just played it out wide to these electric runners out wide for Rondebosch.
Graham Veppener testing out the infrastructure here in front of me. Massive moment here, Phil. Rondebosch to feed a line out 5 meters out.
A good line out, and it's the shift. And the big number 4 comes around the corner. Can they stop him? Yes, they can. But ball on the front foot. The cut to Craig, who looked like he didn't really want too much of that. And a snap right. Held up very nicely by Halverson. That's a more. Rondebosch need to get that to the deck, and they have. Some width to DJ Klanger, who drops it cold. Rondebosch rumbling it up a couple of meters out, needing some intensity at that breakdown. Some width here. Oh, he's dropped it. Glepu gets Sacs out of trouble. Good defensive work there by Sacs.
Outstanding defense there by Sacs. I thought when the number 10 Craig came back on that switch, it was fairly pedestrian, and Sacs didn't move up to meet him. But after that, the defense was excellent. Larkin making a big spot tackle on DJ Falconer. Glepu actually, at the end of the day, would have probably wanted that ball to stay infield there full. It could have been a foot race down the right-hand side. Nevertheless, Sacs have managed to repel the danger, but Rondebosch to feed.
Rondebosch still in a decent attacking space. A couple of meters out of it, between the 22 and the halfway line. The line out. One hopes this goes off the top. Sacs under very little pressure at the line out. Allows their defenders to come up, eat up the space. Rondebosch on the gain line, struggling to penetrate. Been held up comfortably by the Sacs defensive effort. Rondebosch now looking desperately to get the ball wide, and probably a little bit too early. The run is looking very shallow and flat, all on the same line, no variation. Rondebosch hooker comes on a cutback and isolated and turned over, one would expect.
Surely a turnover there. Phil Larkin's hands were on the ball there. It felt like for an eternity. Nevertheless, play on.
The referee's interpretation of the breakdown hasn't been as consistent as we might have liked, but he hasn't had a bad game.
Still another cross kick coming there, Phil.
Yeah, it was on the space, even if with that width there. Rondebosch intensity seems to be lost. There doesn't seem as much of a keenness as there was at one stage.
Big decision now, Phil. Do they go for the draw, or do they kick the points and look to come back for the win? They go for touch. There's still about 8 minutes to go, I think, so there's still time to come back. They're looking to impose themselves again. I know Maul is not your favorite tactic, particularly with some of the backs that Rondebosch do possess, but one would expect this particular line out to go the way of a Maul again.
They probably will have a Maul, but wouldn't it be lovely to see a ball off the top and trust yourselves and trust your execution on a set piece play?
Going middle, put on the ground. Going middle.
Rondebosch play the back of the line out. Get some momentum on that Maul now finally. But still not majorly concerned. Well sacked by Sacs. And it's a turnover. Exactly the result Rondebosch weren't looking for. Exactly the result Sacs were. Playing predictable rugby football is never going to benefit you.
That is a massive moment in this game, Phil. Rondebosch deep inside Sacs' half with a line out that's functioned fairly well today. But perhaps tactically not the right call. Sacs now have a scrum. They're still under a lot of pressure here. The Sacs scrum is going to have to hold up here. There's Nick Redlinghuis looking to run off the scrum here on the right-hand side. Lucky Glepu looking to find his receiver with an effective, accurate pass. You can almost feel the pressure of the players. You can feel the nerves of the spectators. This one's going down to the wire. Sacs leading 28-21.
Sacs are deep in their half. Rondebosch need to continue to apply the pressure. They need to trust themselves, back themselves, create some desire. It looks like they're a little bit flat at this stage.
Great scrum by Sacs. Halverson off the back. He offloads to Redlinghuis.
And he can do no wrong.
He worms his way over a couple of extra meters and the ball's presented back. Glepu out to Hayes with the left foot. Oh, lovely kick there by Hayes towards the touchline there. It's a wonderful exit kick. A quick put in there by Rondebosch. This is exciting stuff, Phil.
And here we go, Mavana, an exciting runner. He's beaten 3. Can he link up with Davis? Yes, he can. Rondebosch now showing some intent. Hopefully this will spark them into action. A full lineup. Some nice depth. Looking for some strong ball carrying. Replacement prop forward carrying. Sacs need to roll away. A wobbly pass. Davis with the ball in hand. Looking for a runner. Willing runner. Rondebosch looking flat. Needing to really spark things here. Lovely pickup by the prop forward. He's been impressive today. I've been watching him clean rucks. Looks like a jelly baby, but certainly gets the job done. Oh!
Timely intercept there by Ravenscroft. Sacs desperately needed that. Rondebosch were going through the phases in the right areas of the field. Klepu now seems to be back. Needs to get into the scrum half position quickly, otherwise there's going to be a turnover here. Klepu here now with the right foot, the favoured right foot. Under a bit of pressure, he's got into 10. They're running this again. Sacs hanging on to a lead. Some interesting tactics here. They give a forward pass.
I must admit, Nick, I'm so sad that that pass was forward. A wonderful piece of enterprise there, playing away from the pressure, playing towards the space. Yes, it's dangerous this time of the game, but there wasn't a great opportunity or angle on any of the right feet there to clear.
The Sacs coaches, while willing the boys to have a go from anywhere, will be biting their fingernails at the moment as the Sacs boys try to run out with a 28-21 lead. They're running from deep. Fantastic to see, Phil, as a rugby lover, schoolboy rugby lover, to see the boys having a go from anywhere, no matter what the situation of the game.
The exuberance of youth. The exuberance of youth, a willingness to play and enjoy oneself, play with a smile on your face, just such important components that must not ever be forgotten.
It's been one hell of a contest. Ding-dong battle here. Sacs giving up possession to Rondebosch. Rondebosch giving up possession back to Sacs. Boys both looking to move the ball. Exciting game. Lots of mistakes, but nevertheless, very exciting game to watch, full tight as you could possibly get. And Rondebosch certainly won't have given up yet. They'll still be believing that they've got a chance here. They just need to get their hands on the ball. Sacs, with that forward pass, have given them the ball from this left-hand scrum, and let's see what they can do here.
The execution of this this play is going to be important, one would think, Nick. I don't think there are too many bites of the cherry left for Rondebosch here.
3 minutes remaining, Phil.
It looks like Sacs are setting themselves up for a get-out play again. Crank it up in that first channel to allow the space.
Klepu's putting the ball in, Phil. We thought that maybe it was a forward pass by Sacs. Nevertheless, another wonderful kick by Klepu down the right-hand side. That is a great nudge. Lucky Klepu proving to be a very effective exit kicker for Sacs here. Not only dangerous around the fringes and quick to take tap penalties, also very effective with the right boot there to get Sacs in the right area of the field.
Cometh the hour, cometh the man, and I think that was an important moment. Rondebosch are now pinned back deep in their half and have a lot of work to do to resurrect their opportunity to lock this game up.
Sacs just need to show composure now and stay in this area of the field with 2 minutes remaining.
Why Rondebosch would maul this is beyond me. Allow the opportunity for Sacs to sack, slow it down, allow their defenders to come up and close the space down. Oh, and he's gone. He's gone. Loads of space. He's gone right. Oh, he slipped. It looked like he had the angle on the Sacs fullback, who defended his channel very well in the end.
Phil, I haven't seen a piece of play by an individual like that for some time. That was magic there by the Rondebosch number 15. He chips it, catches, regains. Sacs just fortunate there that he slipped there. I think he was around Michael Abrams. That would have been an unbelievable try with 1 minute to go. Sacs breathe a sigh of relief. They have the put in. Now it's time for composure. It's time to keep ball now and wind down the clock.
Rondebosch certainly looks set to attack this line out, which hasn't fired for Sacs all morning.
They go to the back. Unfortunately, Sacs make a shambles of that line out yet again, putting themselves under massive pressure.
And now it's about desire. Can Rondebosch create something from nothing? One-off runners in that first channel. Some width here for Rondebosch, who look very flat. Vavana trying to create something, but just far too shallow and picked off comfortably. But a penalty for Rondebosch. What for? I don't know. For side entry, it looked like at that breakdown. Davies plays quickly. DJ Falconer taking that last ball in. Sacs needing to scramble on defense here. They keep it alive. There goes Davis, the best player for Rondebosch the second half, and Rondebosch are under the sticks. Can you believe it? Wonderful character, never say die attitude of the Rondebosch boys. They looked so flat, but they managed to stick at the guns, keep the ball moving, keep the ball alive, and stop dying with it as they have for many parts of the second half. And they score under the sticks at the death. A big kick coming up to lock things up.
Great character shown there by Rondebosch. The little scrum off there, Davies did exactly the same thing to Sacs to draw the game last year for the under-16As, a little inside pass. He's a very nifty little player, I must say. Him and Glepu are going to have some ding-dong battles going forward as they're both in grade 11. Rondebosch there breaking Sacs' hearts with a try in the final passage of play. This is a very important kick. Phil, I'd hate to be the guy taking it. It's fairly close in. Probably, one would say, a certainty, but we saw Joe Peterson missing something similar for the Sharks earlier in the season.
You can keep dreaming, Nick. I don't think there's an issue, as you say. Broken hearts for Sacs, but excitement for Rondebosch. And to be honest, probably a fair reflection of two sides that no one really did enough to walk away from here today, say, I deserved that one.
I think that's a fair comment, Phil. Both sides gifting the opposition chances to get back in the game. Obviously, both teams will be disappointed with a draw, I would think. Draw is not a result that anyone really wants. But nevertheless, Rondebosch and Sacs contributed to a very exciting game of rugby here on the Memorial A Field. Beautiful conditions, a nice big crowd. Sacs' second draw of the season, drawing 10-all to Selborne earlier at the Kersney Festival. So they won't be happy with that. But Rondebosch, got to give them credit. They fought right to the bitter end there. They never gave up. Magic Mike Mavana almost creating something from deep here, something magical. He was bundled into touch. They still didn't give up. They kept fighting, and they were rewarded with a try under the poles, which got them the draw.
Yeah, Nick, I'll remember this game certainly for a couple of individual players that have certainly caught my eye, as you have spoken about. Lucky Glepu, a wonderful little scrum off, seems to have all the attributes, as well as Redlinghuis, seems to be a real character man, one of those players every side wants in their team. And for Rondebosch, Davis seemed to be the spark that they needed at the important times, and Mavana dangerous every single time he got the ball. So it certainly gears things up for that second fixture, which always is the important one, the one that's remembered for the years, the second game. So there's certainly lots to look forward to. Two evenly matched sides who have contrasting styles, but certainly both bring quite a lot to the table.
Sacs will be looking now to bounce back after this. They'll be playing Tygerberg at home, followed by Brackenfell before they go out to Paul Roos on the 4th of June. They won't be happy with the draw, as we've said. Phil, you've hit the nail on the head in terms of who the key players were today and who were the guys that stepped up in the big moments. One must say that Nick Redlinghuis, with a hat-trick of tries, is probably my man of the match. He was outstanding today. He really ignited the Sacs performance there. Once I won't say down and out, but they were certainly in trouble. They were lacking intensity. They're lacking a bit of spark, and he created something special there, which was really good to see. Rondebosch now doing their school song in front of their faithful down on the right here, which is great to see, and Sacs will be following suit shortly.
Such a cross-cultural school, Nick. Beautiful moments, these boys, moments they'll remember forever. I enjoyed today, Nick. I thank you for the opportunity for being at this beautiful school. It's one of my favorite schools to come to, and it was actually a great spectacle. And then I think the fans got some decent rugby. There were obviously lots of errors and maybe not the sort of tactical nuances required for any team to really take this game by the horns, but certainly an enjoyable one.
Thank you, Phil. It's been a pleasure watching this game and commentating with you. Always great to see you. Perhaps we'll be on commentary again for the return match, which could be a ding-dong struggle. The bragging rights are still to be decided. A draw, no one's a winner. But Sacs will look forward to the rest of the season, as will Rondebosch, and I look forward to seeing you again soon and watching some more schoolboy rugby with you.
Thanks, Nick.
Sacs boys now doing the school song for their faithful. As the Sacs boys sing their school song for the crowd, we'll bid you farewell from the beautiful suburb of Newlands with Table Mountain in the background. Until the next time, goodbye.